Hello, welcome to Honey Badger 3D Print and Paint. Today we are taking a look at the 3DTalk Fam260, an interesting printer that I have not seen inside, and I am joined by many friends who I will now add to the stream. So we have Mike, we have Matt, we have Ron, and we have another Matt.
Hey.
Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Right, so this machine is a little bit of an odd one. It's very interesting. It's all linear rails. It's direct drive. It's got a touch screen. It's got a filament runout sensor. It's Ender 3 size-ish, 230 by 230 by 260. And I have absolutely no idea what it really looks like in real life. There is one video that is shot very poorly on YouTube that shows you, in theory, how to assemble it. But all the pictures everywhere are just computer renders. They are not. There's no actual pictures of this machine. So without further ado, let's open up this box and see what we're working with. So there's only one place in the UK you can buy these at the moment. It's a place called Delo MT. They sell a couple of industrial machines as well, but they don't. Yeah, that's pretty much all they stock, and they're the only people I've found who actually stock them. So first things first, let's take a look at how it's packed. So not horrendous. You can see that it's pretty much in two parts. It's really very heavy. We've got a user guide, which we're going to ignore. Got some packaging, and then we need to get this bad boy out. So top frame first. Okay, so we've got dual Z motors. We've got an incredibly loose belt, which isn't a great start.
How heavy do you think it is?
How heavy do I think? What, just the top piece? I honestly don't know. Heavy. That's got to be 7 kilos on its own.
It's linear rails on it.
Yeah, it's linear rails on everything. So it's dual linear rails on the bed. It's dual Z linear rails, and all that the X sits on is also a linear rail. So I'm just going to have to cut this like that. Looks like they give you, it's a toolkit, okay. So you get something resembling a toolkit.
What's in the box?
Let's find out what you get in the box. So in the box, you get the world's jankiest spool. Oh, hold on. Turn the camera back on. There we go. Right, so if I go over to camera 2, look at that, professional. This is your spool holder. It is an aluminium extrusion with a tube screwed to it.
That directly into the extrusion rail?
Oh yeah. That's true. That's drilled straight into the aluminium. That's not coming out. You're not breaking that.
Oh, like you could
at least it's straight, not bent.
Well, yeah.
You couldn't just use some T-nuts on there? Like that's
No. Straight into the aluminium extrusion. That's the best way for it. That's never coming out. We've got scraper, another pair of clippers. Oh, hold on. There we go. Scraper, nice scraper. Another pair of clippers for me to lose. That's fun. We've got the world's most pointless bit of filament. So it's 10 meters of filament, and it's even labeled as 3D. I don't know if you can see that as 3D pen filament. So,
Oh, no way.
like, you could have just taken the sticker off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it comes with a USB stick and a micro SD card. Comes with what appears to be a hardened steel nozzle as well. So that's interesting. I'll take a look at the actual.
Talking about that, I did see a little bit that it boasts about TPU and wood filament that it can do that. So that's probably why.
Okay. I mean, TPU doesn't really need a steel nozzle, does it?
No,
TPU is
but-
really more for if you want, TPU, you just need direct drive. But they give you some zip ties. Back, here we go. They give you some zip ties, always reassuring. They give you some Allen keys. I look forward to adding those to my many Allen key collection. They give you the screws. They give you, oh dear, okay. They give you some corner brackets. Maybe I should have kept those instructions. And they give you a power cord.
Yeah.
Which,
That's what I wanted to say. Don't forward the instructions.
well, let's just.
Takes all the fun out of it, though.
What was the corner bracket before, though? Oh, it's all right because the operating instructions don't tell you how to assemble it, so that's good.
That's typical.
No, cool. Okay, fine. So we're on our own for that part.
We'll just wing it.
We'll just wing it. It'll be fine. Oh, that's stuck on. Okay, there we go. This comes out. Oh, so sticky. Okay. I'm just trying to. Oh, that looks like the sort of thing that if I stick a knife in, it's going to cut something important. So let's do that anyway.
Oh, no. That's what.
Oh, filament sensor. Okay, fair enough. Interestingly, it looks like the filament sensor. Yeah, so the filament sensor there. No T-nuts for the filament sensor either. You screw that directly into the frame as well. All right, another.
We're starting off great here already.
Yeah. So first. Okay, that's quite heavy. Right. Let's put that on the ground. Get rid of this.
Yeah, just chuck it out.
There we go. Right. This is the bed. Bed comes.
Well, that's a small bed for a big base.
Well, so it's 230 by 230 by 260. That's the claim. Basically, Ender 3 size. Although, as a little middle finger to Ender 3s, it's sort of 10 mil bigger on every axis.
Yeah.
So that's so they can make that claim at least that they are 10 mil bigger than an Ender 3 on every axis. Oh, I don't even know what that's at all. Nothing. Okay, fine. Right. So bed just plugs in.
Oh boy.
He said.
Everybody who's ever owned an ANET is now screeching right now.
So what I will say is that does at least clip in, but at the same time, I mean, it's the right gauge wire, which makes a nice change, but no strain relief. So that's going to be one of the first things we're going to need to print for that. What I'm concerned about is whether or not I think this might have twisted in shipping, maybe. The belt just seems so loose. I don't see how it could, and I don't see a way of tensioning it. So I'm just trying to figure out if something's moved or whether. Well, let's get it installed, and then we'll go from there. So printer on its side. Okay. Let's find out if they at least give you the right size Allen keys. I mean, very beefy bolts, like big boys. Oh, hello.
Oh, careful, it's moving.
Immediately shifted. Okay, does that line up properly?
Oh, Matt, did you receive my files?
Thank you. Yeah, I always forget.
No, don't worry about it. Otherwise, if you don't find the link, I'll send you another one.
I'm on it right now. I have it.
Okay. There should be 2 cans inside. One is the skeleton one. I'm printing actually this one right now out, and it comes, I mean, nicely out on the FDM printer. And then the Fanta can I sent you.
Let's have a little
You
look
have
in
to
the chat
uncrypt it.
while we're doing this. Why are we all looking up Ron's nose? An excellent question. Oh. All right, flip this over to the other side without pinching those cables. Such a loose belt. I'm going to have to figure out how on earth you tighten that. Like, there's no way that's right.
Probably someone eccentric nut, maybe.
Well, no, it won't be the eccentric nut because there isn't one. Eccentric nuts are how you tighten a bed onto a gantry. There isn't one.
No.
Not for linear rails.
No, for the belt, I mean.
Yeah, there wouldn't be an eccentric nut for that. That would be
no.
That would just be a belt tensioner in theory.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I forgot the name.
But it doesn't. I can't see a way to tension that belt. I mean, maybe I'm just. Come on. So the holes aren't. I'll be honest. The holes aren't tapped fantastically, but we're almost there. Maybe if we try this. Who's this guy I'm watching?
No, it looks good.
Hold on.
Just when you got back.
There we go. Right. Nope. Just seeing if I can. This one is. Come on. Finding the hole for this side is actually quite hard. The holes aren't tapped fantastically well, so it's just proving to be a little tricky to get that. I feel like that frame is twisted slightly in shipping. There we go.
You got butterfingers again, huh?
Yeah, always.
Yeah. Yeah, I had yesterday a bad day with that. I kept dropping stuff and was too tired.
Right. Oh, there we go. Stepper motor plugs in. There's a thing here. Oh, right. So this is where. Put this back up. Oh. Go back over to this one. Mike looks a little under the weather. I think he's just worried that this is his printer. and then ultimately, if anything does go wrong, he has to deal with it. So that all plugs in. And then we unclip from there.
I'm also on a lot of painkillers as well because I've hurt my shoulder and my wrist.
Right. So, I'm not feeling good about that at all. And then, all right. Hey, non-stick. Hey, tripod. Sorry, I didn't say hello to you, did I? Everyone else was. Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Oh. Nice. There we go. So there is a bit of damage to this, I'll not lie. There's sort of some of the highly skilled stickered on Fam260 logo has been rubbed off from somewhere. I am just looking to figure out where on earth the end stop is that this plugs into. And of course, it's up here. So hold on. It's the end stop is at the top. Or it's got has it got a Z max and a Z min? No. What? What do you mean? So what? It homes at the max? That can't be right, can it?
Wait, it homes at the top?
Yeah, the Z limit switch is here.
What? I mean,
There's nothing down there that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess this is homing at the top of the printer then. Right, so let's take a look. So this has got a oh, okay, that's going to be fun to put in then, is it? Oh, okay, I see. This has got a filament sensor, which is good.
That's one of those things where, you know, you never think that you need it until you got it, and then you can't live without it, I think.
Yeah, very much so. It's I'll be honest and say that on a printer of this size, I don't think a filament sensor is that necessary, personally. But you know, I know it's something that a lot of people look for, and a lot of people are quite frustrated when they don't have it on all machines. But a build volume of this size, it just doesn't feel like it needs one. And that cage has had the absolute crap kicked out of it. That has had the absolute crap kicked out of it. So you guys can't see this, but I reckon the front of that, of this part cooler with the hot end fan, I reckon that is 5 mil lower at the front than it is at the back. And yeah, that's not going to be cool. Let's try and manually move in this Z up a bit and see if we can't gently persuade that back into its correct position. That also makes me feel like I was right and that this has been... Right, so this needs to come up like that. I don't know if you guys saw how much that just came up, but it was, that was a lot. So it's only got part cooling on one side, which has got sort of a relatively small, I think that's a 4010 radial fan that's then blowing. Tripod, you are right. It is not a large build volume. Not really. I mean, so it's 230 by 260. Sorry, 230 by 230 by 260. So it is slightly bigger than the Ender 3 is, but I'm also not 100% clear how this fits to this. Oh, that must be what your corner brackets are for. Oh, well, that's garbage. Cool. Right. So I guess we're doing this then. Right.
It's always joyful watching you putting something together. We never know what to expect with you.
Well, in my defense, this isn't my poor preparation. Because there's no videos.
I know.
Right, okay. This one wasn't... I'm gonna happily say this one was not my fault. So, okay, so... You can't seriously expect me to fit that on there. Because it doesn't, does it?
Do you have light in the studio because the sun is going down where you are?
By studio, you mean my kitchen, do you?
Yeah.
That's what we're referring to as my studio now, are we?
Studio
Cool.
/ kitchen, you know?
Yeah. Studio / kitchen. I'll give you that.
You need to
Right.
rename
Okay.
yourself to like Chef 3D or something.
Yeah. So okay. So there's only one way this is going to mount, and that is but you can't do it that way.
3D Boyardee.
So they give you two, but there's only enough room to mount one.
Actually, we don't have Boyardee cans over here, Matt. No, we don't have that brand over here in England.
Oh, so that you mean they actually, have worry about your health and being?
No, it's just different other brands. We do have Heinz and we do have other brands, you know. So, but some of them are similar. We have Campbell.
Right.
That's the only one we have.
Right. Well, that's straight now because it wasn't. But that is look at that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's terrible. That ain't gonna
hold
work
on.
very well.
That's gonna do some layer shifts.
Oh my god, that's the loosest rope I've ever seen.
There's no way to. Well, hold on.
There, to the right, there's
There must be a button there on the.
No, there's
on
nothing.
the right.
There's no buttons.
Right.
There's nothing.
Can you not move the wheel a little bit forward? I don't know.
Oh, you know what? That's what the extra zip ties are for, I bet. So you can cut that and bring it up. I bet you.
Sorry.
Right. Hold on. Oh, okay. I see what's happened. The brass crimp on the end has come way loose.
Oh,
So
great
again,
assembly.
in shipping, the brass crimps come off, which is what's detensioned the belt. This must have had a really hard knock, which is not great. Well, that hurts a lot when you try to do that. Right, okay. So now, put that back around there. No. So yeah, so there's definitely no auto bed level on this. Unsurprising, bearing in mind that it was bent. Right, so let's try putting that back on properly. Well, this is going to be a lot harder than I initially planned. Who wants to take bets that I cut myself doing this?
Nah, I don't gamble.
It's not even a gamble at this point, to be honest with you. that is a bet you're guaranteed to win.
It's destiny for you that you hurt yourself. You think that?
Yeah, very possibly.
I mean, you can't be that unlucky.
Do you want to bet?
Oh, no.
I've got about 30 years worth of experience. It tells me a very different story. Right, okay, so now that we've done that, let's now try putting that back on. Well, I've made that too tight. Maybe I should have waited to bend the Z carriage back.
Whoops.
Come on. Yes! Mighty. There we go. A perfectly tensioned belt, everybody. So, now.
One problem fixed. On to the next.
Yeah. Now, I guess we turn it on and see whether... Oh, hold on. First of all, just because I am speaking from... Oh, okay. Well, there's no... If there... Well, so if it does have a change between 110 and 220 volt, you can't do it. So, so we're just going to plug it in. and then we're going to see what this
You
does.
don't blow it up.
Well, yeah. Right.
Ah!
Beep noises.
It went up in smoke.
Beep
Magic
noises and a Chinese menu.
Oh.
That's
In
going to be
Chinese?
tricky.
Is that sweet and sour chicken?
That is going to be tricky.
Oh, that just says fuck you.
So, here's a fun little fact. All of the instructions, where are we? All of the instructions are in English. None of these instructions tell you how to change the language.
Oh boy.
Oh, no.
I think you
Right.
better start learning Chinese.
Time
Oh,
to
this
pull out
is-
the Google
Chinese.
Translate there.
Hold on. So, maybe that. Oh, that doesn't look like the right button. Okay. What about that one?
Find something that says settings.
Oh, English. Boom. We're in English.
All right.
Do they have German too?
What a rush. Let's have a look.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Languages.
Ja.
They've got
Yeah.
2 different kinds of Chinese. I don't know what the differences are. Cantonese and Mandarin, maybe? I don't know. English, Russian,
Are there instructions
Espanol.
on their website? I don't think so.
Italian, maybe?
I don't even think you could find this on their website.
I know some people are right now watching from Italy.
France and Italy. Yes, in all of those.
No, good,
Are there
good.
instructions on the website? Loopy Loo. That's a very nice thing to think they would do. No. So, so let's have a quick look at I/O. So we've got a micro SD card port here, and a what is it? A USB. What's the printer one? USB type.
Type A?
Is
No,
it Type A?
Sorry.
No, the
Type
big
A is
thick.
normal.
Yeah, Type A is what goes into a computer, and then it's
Type B?
whatever the size is that goes into a printer normally, the square one. The fun fact is they didn't give me a cable to connect to the PC anyway, so that's a moot point. But but we don't want to connect it to the PC, so it's fine. So let's put in the SD card, which easy enough to put in, and let's see what's on the SD cards.
Yeah,
No files found. That's a
Type
good
B.
start. Type B. Oh, okay.
B as in Bravo. Bravo.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. Right, so let's go settings, no, tools.
Did you level the
No.
bed?
You can level the beds, and I shall do that now. Let's find out what it does. So as we suspected, it is assisted bed leveling. So it is 4-corner bed leveling.
All
Now,
right.
I am absolutely fascinated to see what on earth that actually means. Because
I
don't-
wonder if it's gonna screech or not.
I'm wondering whether or not it's going to hit, like, so sorry, so it goes all the way up to, well, let's find out. Let's do home first before we start.
auto-
So
do an
press
auto
home. All right, home all.
Oh my God! Look at that Z wobble. Oh my goodness.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Wow!
that's not ideal.
Oh
Oh,
my God! Yeah, you're gonna have to. Oh
you
my
have to
God.
tighten that.
Yeah, you might want to check those Z rods and make sure that they're good.
Oh, that's not
Yeah,
good.
there's a slight bend in it.
I'm so glad it was
Slide
me who paid
paint.
for this one.
Slide bend. Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
I think Elton John could
complete
make
bend
a
would be
straighter
like,
lead
you know,
screw than that.
90 degrees.
Well, the good news is that is apparently home with the bed all the way forwards. The homing direction is on the right for some reason, and it homes all the way at the top. All of those things are objectively weird.
I don't know. I have a good and bad thing about that. The good thing is you know, you always have those people who are like, hey, how can I make the bed come forward and my nozzle get away from it? So that's at
Well, the
least
great
one good
news
point.
is they don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, they don't have to worry
That's
about
not a
it.
question anyone's going to need for this printer. There are
But
going to be
in
several
terms of,
other
like,
questions.
How all printers work, that is ass backwards.
Yes, it is. So, and now, obviously, now I won't be able to, like now I've got a completely restricted, lead screw. So if I need to take that out, I'm going to have to screw it all the way up to get it out.
Or just move the Z all the way down and then take it out that way.
Right, hold on. Motor's off. And let's.
Oh my.
So there's no grub screws. So that is just. All right, let's take a look at this. Hey, DB3D.
What's up, Dan? Dan the man. Message.
Who
Yeah,
is whooping?
What?
Who is whooping every 2 minutes?
Oh, I think it's I think me. People sending me messages. I switch it off.
Popular guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Especially since I have a girlfriend now.
Oh. So I'll be honest. Oh no, it is.
Is it a bent screw or is it?
Oh, that's so bad. Oh
Switch to the
no.
other camera.
So
Switch to
bad.
the other
Hold on.
camera.
You're just on it. So put it on the bed and roll it on the bed because we can't see it from there.
Okay, hold on. So,
or move the printer at least.
I don't know if you guys will be able to see. It should be right. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh, trust
oh
me.
wow.
Trust me. It's.
I can see it. I see it.
It's really bad.
Hey, if
This
you
printer
got a
is.
blowtorch, you might be able to fix it for a quick second, but.
So.
You can bend it straight with your hands. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think you've confused me with Super James.
Oh, I thought you were like just going like, and then come out as Super James.
The problem is, at 260, surely that's going to be like a random length of lead screw. Hold on, let me fetch my trusty. Talk amongst yourselves. As I fetch my. All right,
Matt, you were able to download it.
We're good. Thank you.
Good.
So the question is then, how long is the lead screw? The lead screw is exactly 350. So how long is the lead screw? No, because they're integral, so I can't use those. Yeah, I don't have a lead screw for that. Maybe I'll just flip it up the other way because it's one end that's quite obviously bent.
And just do, some smaller prints on it for the time being?
Yeah, until I'm not bending that. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, let's try inverting it and seeing how bad that is then.
Yeah,
I mean, at least it's a dual Z. So I'll point out as well, no anti-backlash nuts.
Awesome.
On the Z. Not that was something I suppose we were expecting at this point.
Most sub $500 printers don't have them anyway. So.
Yeah, true. I mean, come to think of it, actually, I don't actually think I'm going to just change the camera because that was quite clearly a picture of just my crotch that we were staring at. I suppose actually, I don't even think the artilleries have them, to be honest.
No.
So let's just go through some of the issues that we've found so far. So issue number one was that the machine has clearly had a hard time in shipping. I think there should be a helpline that I can put up at the end of the show. If you've been affected by this level of abuse in your own life,
and this
then
was
please
FedEx
call.
from start to finish,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was FedEx. Yeah. Right.
You should have used UPS.
What can purple damage for you?
Yeah.
I have to say that I work for the other guy, so.
Oh right. Let's tighten that.
So this printer, is it £500? Is it?
Right. So £495 is the price in the UK. That's expensive. I don't think there's two ways about that. It's about, that works out to give or take about 600 American pesos. So I don't, like, that is expensive for this machine.
They're saying this is like nearly 2 and a bit times better than an Ender.
Yes, essentially.
I stick to my
Now, what I will caveat that with is that I can only find this for sale. 1 second, because my camera's gone awry. I can only find this for sale on one website in the UK, and that is called Delo MT. They are the only ones in the UK that seem to stock this. So they are both the most expensive place to buy this and also the cheapest. It's not necessarily that the machine genuinely is that expensive. It's just that it is that expensive there. It's like saying that, you know,
somehow you need to make profit too.
Yeah, everybody needs to make profit. I'm not debating that at all. I hope they're not making profit on this machine because
that's
But right, okay. So let's see what happens when we try to level the corners on this. I'm going to crank this bed right down because I already have, like, I'm getting heart palpitations just thinking about what it's going to do. So, oh, that's what the. Oh, okay. So I figured out what the. Oh, are they? Are they for that? Maybe. Oh, okay. Maybe, yeah. I figured out what the cable ties might know. I don't think they're for that because they can't go around the linear rail. Okay, so let's just cable tie them together then and hope that they don't go anywhere. That doesn't seem like a good strategy, but I just want to keep them out of the way, that's all. Not some of my finest cable tie work, I'll grant you, but it will do in a pinch. Just feel like that's going to interfere with when I put the spool on it, because God help me, we're actually going to have to try and print with this in a minute. Okay. Right, okay, let's try leveling it. 0.1. Oh, so wobbly, that lead screw. Just, I don't know if it shows it on that. Look at that! God!
Like it's doing a little dance.
Just dancing away up there. Good God.
Well, it stopped, so, ow. All right, let's try and get that.
Is that a BMG extruder, or is that just kind of like a cheap?
Well, it's it's a dual drive, but it's a BMG clone. Like, it's not a BMG.
Right.
Let's try again.
Looks like a dog wagging its tail. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So there is a little clip up here in the top sort of left-hand corner that there's a clip in the top left-hand corner that's supposed to keep the Bowden tube from flying about all over the place. I mean, so absurd things aside, the MG15 linear rails that are on this are beefy as hell. Like they are lead screws that mean business. Like, you know, they are not messing around there. I would not be surprised. So when I do the actual review of this, I will be opening it up so we can take a look at what main board it's got. I have no idea what main board is in it, whether it's brand name or whether it's whatever else the rest of this is made out of. All right. And we'll be heating this up in a moment. So it's like an ultra base glass, which, you know, I'm on board with. That's I've used that on quite a few of my machines. It's quite nice. The touch screen is fine. Actually, to be fair, the touch screen reminds me a lot of the touch screen that you get on a Sidewinder, to be honest.
I wonder if that's running like a big tree tech board or something like that in there.
I mean, it's possible. It could be using like an SKR 1.4 or something.
Yeah.
There seems to be so many places now that are using proprietary boards, but big tree screens. I don't really know why that's the split that they've gone with. What is interesting is that if you're on the home page or like the front page, there's no temperature readouts at all. It just says tool settings printing. There's nothing about what your tool head is doing at all. So when you're preheating, you have to stay in the preheat page to be able to see what your tool head is doing.
Okay.
So you're right. It's not a great angle for the touchscreen, Carl. If you are standing over the machine, then obviously it's fine. If you've got that machine up at height, did I align the Z's? Yeah, sure. Why not? Actually, yeah, apparently I did. I'm looking at where they're sitting. They are actually aligned. But I don't think we could class that as me doing it. I think it's just they are. I mean, one would assume that, bearing in mind how chunky these are. So that is it up to temperature. So that's not terrible. Or the heat bed's stuck at 40 though. 41. 41. 42. Yeah, that heat bed is slow to heat. So it's not an AC heated bed by any stretch. So I'm going to be using Sunlu filament. I'm using it for one reason and one reason only. It was very cheap. Sunlu have a sale on at the moment. Oh. I wonder what that means. So I don't know if you guys can see, but hold on, let's go back to, if I push this up, I don't know if it even shows up, but this little port has got a little red disco light behind it. So that's got to be a feature that everybody needed.
Yeah. Everybody needs a little bit of
red
light.
Got a little flashy disco light, so that's cool. Yeah, so Sunlu had a sale on. So in the UK at the moment, cheapest you can get filament is like, what would you say, Mike? About £15 a kilo?
Yeah, if you can find a good deal, £15.
Yeah, so £15. Well, this, if you use their discount code, it's like a 10% discount code. This was like £11 a kilo. I bought 10 kilos. And I have to say that so far, it's been really good. So it has got a filament set, which is pretty easy to feed through, actually. All right, okay, I like that. I'm going to be honest and say that this all here, I mean, it's not clean. Like if you can see here.
Yeah.
So, like
there's cables everywhere.
Yeah. It's not clean. Like it's not clean. And I'd actually go so far as to say that I don't really like the way this is bunching up over here either. But it's like zip tied. It's zip tied down here, and I kind of feel like it's supposed to be zip tied there to stop this from going anywhere. But we'll leave it for now. It may just be an aesthetic thing. I suppose all that matters is whether or not it works. And I mean, at the moment, it heats up like a 3D printer does, and it sort of moves. So I guess technically speaking, it's a 3D printer. Looks like through some miracle, somebody has actually tested this machine, because we are printing with black and it's currently extruding white. So,
well, that's at least a good sign.
So somebody has at some point turned this on and said this is a good representation of us. Saying that. Okay. Well, filament goes in the hot end, and what comes out? Oh, filament. Well, we're all shocked at that. So I'm going to plug the USB drive that comes with it and the SD card that comes with it into my computer, at which point the Chinese government will more than likely have full access to my PC. So if anybody shocking comes up on this stream,
you're bad,
and it was always intended. Right, okay, so let's have a little look and see what's on the USB drive. So there is a 3DTalk setup. What is that? That is... Oh, 3DTalk appears to have their own slicer.
Oh, boy.
Let's see what that looks like. I'll give everybody 6 guesses about what it looks like.
I probably should have used the money to improve their lead screws, to be honest, rather than build their own slicer.
Oh, okay, so you select your printer model, Fam260, okay. All right. Okay. So, hold on, let me share my screen so that everyone can bask in this glory. 1 second. So this, everybody see? Let's make that a normal size. There we go. This is the Fam260 3DTalk slicer. As you can see, you can do swirly whirlies. You can do translate. I don't know what that means. You can do scale, a mirror flip. You can add a bunny rabbit. You can play hangman. You can select a face to orient. That sounds mildly offensive, doesn't it? And then duplicate model, place model, slice, show the layers, and export the slice file. These are all the settings that you are given. Oh, and there's a little, oh, look at that. It's got a little prompt thing. It's like we're on the news.
A news ticker.
Brilliant. Right, so let me go and let me just grab something super quick. Oh, it adds it direct. Okay, so hold on. There we go. That puts it in the middle. So they're your models. You go to your print options. These are your print options. I'm going to leave all of these as standard because I'm a maverick and that's how I roll. The cool fan is always on. Okay. What? For PLA, it's always on? No. After the first... Oh, no. We're leaving it as their settings. We're not going to touch them and then we're going to watch it fail and then we'll do it properly. Right, so slice the model. The total time is 15 minutes. Oh, it splits it between the extrude time and the travel time. What a completely useless piece of information. Is that anything anyone's ever asked?
It just wants to show you how much time you're wasting.
Yeah. Well, okay, cool. Right, well, that's that bit of information then. And then save to disk. Here we go. So we'll save that to the USB drive. Saved. I mean, it sliced it quickly and everything. Let's see what happens. I'm going to have to keep a close eye on my bank account for the next few days and make sure no one's like remoting into
That's
my
why
PC
you have a
and
work computer.
Well, we don't all have like 19 computers around us. Right, I'm going to stop sharing that screen.
I'm sorry.
Go back to this.
I shouldn't brag about that. I have like 3 laptops.
Just so many laptops. Doesn't matter that each of them are pre-Cold War.
Yeah, mine are like 6 years old, but I modified them, you know, and they work well.
Right, okay, so it's now heating up. What temperature is it printing at? Something I probably should have checked. 210 on the hot end and 60 on the bed. So I won't lie, that bed is taking a little longer than I would like to heat up. I find it interesting that they've included a steel nozzle, but it comes with a brass nozzle fitted. So I guess we just see what it does. We're definitely going to have to order a new lead screw because that just makes me upset seeing that do that. It reminds me of the wacky waving inflatable arm tube man from Family Guy, where it's like woo! The ones that they have outside car showrooms. Oh, it's so wobbly. It's so wobbly. I mean, it's working, but still. That has got, I think, a 3 mil pitch left and right. Let's see what this does.
Switch the camera.
Oh, it's doing a purge line.
Along the front of the build plate.
Yep. Dude, it's extruding filament, and I think we should be grateful that it's doing that.
Everything's fucking back to front on it.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've nailed that bed level by eye. I think.
Whatever. But I got to run a microbus.
That's working. That is working.
Like 5 minutes.
So, Matt, what have you got on the German? Sorry, not Akuma. What have you got on the lithophanes at the moment?
Well, I got many of monster prints, monster cans.
Yeah?
I'm doing 3 different or 4 different designs right now. I'm test printing them. One coming out really nice, the monster skeleton.
Okay, is that
Mango Loco it's called?
Mango Loco, yeah.
Yeah. And it's about, hold on, let me check how many percent it's done. 93% done, so it should be later on this evening ready. And I will post some pictures of how it looks.
So let me just put my microphone down to this, and I don't think anybody will be wondering whether or not this is silent stepper drivers, because it isn't. It's clearly A series drivers. So
and also, I finished. Hold on, I'm assembling it right now, and I will show you the picture in a few moments.
Well, with that, guys, I gotta head out. I gotta head to work. So,
yeah, no worries, Matt. Thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Guys.
Be safe.
Cheers, man. See you soon.
You guys take it easy. Enjoy.
So, Carl, you're right. The bed isn't massive compared to the actual overall frame size. So it's 230 by 230 by 260. That's the build volume. I mean, it's a build volume that's comparable to the Ender. Now, the reason for the build volume being the way that it is is because if you look, these big MGN 15s are inwards. So normally you would mount rails to the outside of the frame, and then they would move up and down that way. But they've mounted them on the inside, and they've mounted all of their motor extrusion brackets and everything on the inside as well. So if you actually look, this is the side. This is where the cut-offs for the actual bed frame are. Sorry, for the X-axis are. So you've probably only got another. I mean, they could have maybe gone to 250 on the bed rather than what they're at now. I also haven't. Oh yeah, I've added supports. That's not ideal. So this is a calibration cube that's printing with supports. That's really nice, Matt. That's one of the color ones? Let me just put you big. Hold on.
Yeah, this one does have one flaw in it.
There we go. Hold on.
Thank you very much.
I don't know how to make that big.
Don't worry about it. I think people see it.
There we go. That's bigger. That'll work.
Yeah, the camera doesn't do it justice, I think.
Well, you say that, but I think that looks brilliant for a lithophane.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really cool.
The colour ones do look amazing.
Yeah, they always do. They really add something. They really add something to it. That's what I really like.
And also, that's one of my prints.
And that's really cool because actually on the Monster Energy, it really does look like the Energy. It really does look like, because obviously the can is white and it kind of makes the text grey, and the text on the can is actually silver. So it's really clever the way that works, because that actually looks right. I mean, in case anyone's curious, this is going to be a, oh god, it's got 20% infill as well. I should have touched these settings. Should have changed these. Oh, this is your monster lamp.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to change the light bulb because it flickers a little bit. Let me change the color if possible.
I was going to say, does it flicker? Surely it's only flickering for us. They probably study how to maximize printer volume to get the smallest print volume. Yeah, very cool, Matt. I like that.
Thank you. And I made another monster can. Two, actually. This one I'm going to release soon on Thingy Universe, free to download.
Nice. Oh, and that's the Mango Loco one.
Yeah. But the Skeleton Mango Loco one, that one I will sell.
Right.
And I customize every Mango Loco or every monster can. What they buy of me, I customize them for £5.
Nice.
For the STL file. So
cool.
All what they need to do is send me a picture or whatever writing they want to have on there. Of course, the picture will be very small, so I have to see if the picture works or not, because some pictures will not work when they're too small, because the detail is not,
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So I hope more that people want, like, I love you, mom, or I love you, brother, or something, writing on that way, or whatever they want on the can.
I think a lot of people.
If an adult's mother was drinking cans of Monster.
Yeah, that would be concerning. And if the way you show love to your mother is by sending
we all gotta be all
personalized can of Monster. Yeah, I'm going to tell you now that if you're still drinking the volume of Monster that you drink now, you'll be dead by the time you're 50, so it won't be a problem.
I only drink like maybe one a day.
That's not true.
That's actually my 2 today. That's my second one today.
Well, you're going to die young. Or ish.
I know.
Youngish.
At least I leave a beautiful body behind.
Yeah, I suppose so. So, for those who are watching, we are printing a calibration cube. I'm not going to lie. does
Does it look
actually
good?
look pretty good.
Make me smaller and make
Hold on,
yourself
yeah.
bigger.
So I don't suppose you guys will be able to see at the moment, but I mean,
No, it's too dark.
I'm not being
You need
funny.
a light like what I have.
Hold on. If we go and I try, is it a fixed lens? Let's try that. And then let's try adding my torchlight and see whether or not this works. I don't know if you guys can see. So we're at
The corner looks a little bit messed up.
What layer height is it? 0.2?
It's a 0.2 layer height. It's a 20% infill, which is, you know, a touch high.
Well, while I'm sitting here, the box that I do all my priming on, a large part of the paint has just peeled off, and it's so satisfying. Look at that.
Wow.
What's that?
Oh, do you know the box that I prime all my models on?
You're just peeling
Just
off a layer of primer. Christ alive.
No, there's like hundreds of layers on this. It's really thick. That's proper thick.
Right.
It was so satisfying that was when that peeled off in one go.
Brilliant.
It's a piece of art.
I'm going to save it.
If there's anyone else who'd like to jump on, I've just dropped the link into the video description. Oh, sorry, I've just dropped the link into the chat. So you guys are welcome to jump on with us while we wait for this to finish. It's about 30% of the way through. So so it's getting there. I definitely should have turned off supports because you shouldn't have supports on a calibration cube. But I'm just delving into this slicer a little bit more to see what it actually. So is that the layer view? Okay. Oh, it's quite difficult to get that to go the way you want it to. Christ. Eh. Oh, why is it the wrong way around? Oh, nightmare. Right, okay. Ish. So I'll not lie, it is quite difficult to to navigate around the slicer, but I suppose that's just because I'm not used to it. So let me put up the screen share again, and how do I make that the size that it should be? I've no idea. There we go. That was Inception, so bear me 1 second. There we go, right, slicer, there we go. So this is the calibration cube, this is their slicer. To be clear, there's no specific reason, it's only exporting G-code files, so there's no specific reason why you have to use theirs. But you can see that it's actually printing at 100 millimeters a second.
I was going to say, it seemed like it was printing really quick.
Yeah, so it's printing at 100 millimeters a second with a 20% infill. And currently support is enabled. So this is going to be 100. I mean, again, so the thing you have to remember when it comes down to printing speeds is that what really matters is your acceleration, because the acceleration speed between 2 points is really what matters when it comes to how fast something can actually print. This says that it's printing at 100 millimeters a second, but if the acceleration is low, it can never get up to that speed in the small space that it's actually trying to travel. So, but yeah, 100 millimeters a second at the moment, a 0.2 layer height, 20% infill, and I made the mistake of enabling supports, which I shouldn't have done.
I wonder because I saw those little pieces on the side.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming that. So if we reslice, and then, oh, hold on, there we go. So if we go back, so it was some sort of support nonsense that it was trying to do. So There are different infill patterns, support patterns, touching build plates everywhere, the densities, the contact distance, and the angle. But there's obviously not going to be any. There's obviously not going to be any tree supports or anything like that. If somebody knows what this is based off of, I'd be very interested to know what it is. Because excellent. These are the release notes. They're all in Mandarin, all the way back to version nothing. So they're helpful. So you'll never know what the you'll never know what they are. Okay, so there's no updates or anything. It does show you the sort of the front of the bed and things like that, but there's no way to like snap to a. There's no way to snap to a certain like it says flat face view, but I don't know what that means. Oh, that's the wireframe view. Okay. I mean, it has almost finished. So that is a quick calibration cube. I'll not lie. That's at 77%. As with all slicers, it is not accurate on how long it says it's going to take, because it said 1550 and it's at 1558. So, but this is almost done. A little bit of sticky tape left on there.
Has it got a percentage? Has it got a percentage or anything on the screen?
Yeah, so it looks really similar. Let me see if I can show you the screen. Hold on.
Does it also have a countdown timer?
It doesn't have a countdown timer. It's worth mentioning that when you see those, go to that one. So you can see how much of that is done already. And if I come in and down, and I shield this, well, it's very similar. Let me see if turning the light off will stop that glare.
No.
No? There you go.
No, can't really see. It's clearing.
Yeah, 1 second. So you can see it's a very shiny screen, so it's quite hard to show.
Looks nice.
It's a shiny screen and a glass roof.
Yeah. All right, let's turn that light back on. And I mean, that is rocketing along. I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, all joking aside of what we've, of some of the issues that we found, the first lot of issues, the bent lead screw, the bed that's the belt that's not tight, they're all issues that have been caused in shipping. They're not the printer's fault. They're not the manufacturer's fault. They're just shipping. That box has been kicked about.
Well, you can see on that cage on the hot end, you can see there's marks on it.
Yeah. For sure, it was damaged in shipping. For sure. Now, you could debate maybe if they'd packaged it a little differently, it would have looked better. But if you look at that.
So, Victor, this printer is £495.
Yeah. So, and I want to caveat that the printer is £495 at the only place in the UK that you can currently buy it, which is a place called Delo MT. I do not know if you were to buy this directly from 3DTalk. They do have a website. If you were to buy it directly from them, I do not know if it would be cheaper. it must be cheaper to buy directly from them. But in the UK, the only place I can find is Delo MT. So the 495, it's not that you should necessarily take it with a pinch of salt. It's just it's the most expensive and the cheapest place to buy it. Well, that's the calibration cube done.
Wow. That was
So,
quick.
not bad. Oh, you
It
saw
still
how easily
whistles
that
too
came
much
off the
for
bed?
me. Yeah.
Pardon?
Wow. I still hear the whistling sound in the background when the Z-axis moves.
Yeah, so
We'll
it's
need
not
some
got
oiling.
silent. Yeah, so it's not got silent stepper drivers. That's for sure.
Oh.
But let's take a look. I'll put the autofocus back on, so this should be able to show us what this looks like. Hold on. Oh, probably a bit too close. There we go. Right, this is the. Come on. Okay, so let's get that to focus on my hand to begin with. Come on.
No, it froze now.
1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, we suffer right from technical difficulties.
Go to the other
Focus.
camera and do it straight away.
Yeah, we'll give that a try. Right. Okay. Oh,
Put the
damn.
other camera on though.
What, is the other camera turned off?
No, but it's on the little screen so we can't see it.
Oh. There you go. Right. I shall bring my torch so that we can shine a bit of a light on this. So, X side had supports on it because I forgot to turn those off. That is not terrible. This side is pretty clean. Pretty clean. This is Y. And that Z top layer is looks really quite nice. The bottom layer, really nice, bearing in mind I eyeballed that bed level. Now, a couple of things to bear in mind with that calibration cube. One, we have done absolutely no calibration of anything. So we haven't done E-step calibration. I haven't leveled the bed properly, and this is using a slicer that I've never used before. That's also printing a calibration cube at 100 millimeters a second, which is fast. So for those results at 100 millimeters a second, all joking aside, that is a nice print. You saw how easily that came off the bed. There's nothing on that bed. There's no hairspray, no glue stick, nothing. That's how Ultra Base should work. It shouldn't need anything. And I will be honest and say that is a nice calibration cube. All joking aside, I mean, and that's with a dodgy lead screw. That's without, going over the machine and really checking to see anything else. And that is with AT drivers. If you had TMC drivers on that, like 2208s or 2209s, I would challenge that would be even better. So I'm going to be very, very interested when it comes to doing the full review, opening this up and seeing what board it's running. Because if the board allows for removable drivers, that is an upgrade I will almost definitely be doing. That being said, you should not have to do upgrades on a 495-pound machine that is this size.
No.
This machine should come with silent stepper drivers, and there are some.
It seems a lot to me like they've put linear rails on it and gone, well, that's an hour £500 print.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all what's special on it.
Yeah.
Everything else is basically simple stock stuff.
All right, it's got a different extruder on it. But
Well, again, so it's got a BMG style extruder. It does not. Yeah, it should have everything on it. You're right, Carl. It should have all the features. It should have silent stepper drivers. It should have an AC.
Like the bed cables.
Yeah, a bed cable tensioner is really something you should have. I don't see any way unless I'm mistaken. No, there's no way to tension the Y belt. Admittedly, it is an okay tension, but that's not the point. So, I mean, this X belt is now fine. These are big, chunky rails, and it's a big, chunky printer.
Loss. See if it's got power loss.
Okay, so let's go. We'll do the cube again. So you can just click print again on this one, and it will go to print again. So we'll wait for it to. It's gonna start heating up and everything now.
And also, once it starts, also cut the filament. See how good the filament sensor is.
Yeah, good idea. We'll give that a go in a second. There are some quite alarming stickers on it. There is one right next to the power socket that just says "Danger Electric Shock," which I don't know if that's a warning or a threat. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's driving that sticker to be there, or how many times someone was shocked before they put the sticker there. But it's unsettling. It makes me nervous.
Could be a protective sticker.
Yeah, it could be, I suppose. So I'm going to say that bed is taking a decent amount of time to heat up. For a bed of that size, I would like to see this heat up a bit quicker. That being said, all in, I would say that this machine, if it's producing that quality of a print, and again, it's only a calibration cube, so it's not the be-all and end-all, but it's untuned.
On a slicer, I have no idea how good it is.
Yeah, and I have no idea whether that slicer is any good, or whether or not I could probably just modify a Sidewinder profile that I've got and print a calibration cube on that. And I mean, I could even put the print speed up to 80.
Some of my Ender profiles will work exactly the same on it.
Yeah. So what I'll probably do, okay, so I'm going to wait for this. I'm going to wait to test the power loss recovery, see what it does. And then once I've tried that, I'll try putting on a calibration cube on Cura with a modified Sidewinder profile, and we'll see how that comes out. We'll do it at 80 millimeters a second. In fact, I'll tell you what, we'll do it at 100. We'll do it at 100 on Cura.
Yeah.
Just to make it fair. So the print speed is going to be 100 millimeters a second.
What, you saying you can't tighten the belt, the bed belt?
Can't tighten the bed belt, no.
What's with what I'm looking right now at the picture? The end piece, that should be two screws there. What you can slide a little bit.
No. To be clear,
underneath. Look underneath on the other side.
Yeah. These two screws here are these two screws here. They're just this plate, Ted. That is what attaches the belt. There's no moving the motor backwards or forwards.
Them two screws under there are just holding the stepper in place.
Yeah.
Oh wow, G-Tac, you can move them like 5 mil or 8 mil, I think. With G-Tac ones. That's how I struck my belt.
So to be fair, most of them you should be able to. Come on. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this camera into focus because it's not having it. There we go.
There you go.
Right, so we'll let it start doing the print.
How long that will take?
Well, we're not gonna print this one. We're just gonna. I've just let it start, and then we're just gonna yank the power. Let's put the power back in, and
position now.
No. Oh, yeah. Resume. It'll get the temperature. It should get the temperatures up. So the only caveat I would make about that, so it has clearly got power loss recovery. Great.
But the nozzle stays on the print.
The nozzle, well, yeah, because it's off.
But it hasn't moved it away in order to reheat.
No, I'll agree with that.
No.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying too. The G-Tech wants to do it.
Yeah, so I agree with that, Carl. So the bed, yeah. I mean, there's not going to be an easy way to change them. I'm not going to lie. So the bed attaches the same way as the X-axis does, where it's got those crimped ends. So you would have to take the bed off. You have to remove this bed to access the slider underneath. And then you'd have to pull through and re-crimp that brass part to adjust the belt.
Oh, now it does it.
I would imagine that it homes.
Yeah, but that's dangerous for the print if the thing starts over the position of the object and start heating up and then moves to the home position. That's bad. It should first home first.
And heat.
Yeah. And then heat. Because otherwise you burn the thing, you know. I mean, it's probably going to have anyway a little dent inside because it stopped right there.
It does look like there's a little dent on that print, to be fair. So that is now going back to where it originally thought of.
I think that part they had reversed. They should have reversed that part.
Can't get over how bad that one lead screw is. The other lead screw is fine, so it clearly is that one lead screw was just damaged in transit.
Look at the filament hanging down out of it.
So that's now, okay, it's sort of corrected itself. It's done like a little wipe, I guess, but it is still printing, so it has got power loss resume.
Cut the filament.
And then we will cut the filament and we'll see how that does on the filament sensor. So Carl, I'm not a big fan of how these wires are at the back either. I don't really know what you could do. Like, you can release. There's a cable tied back. Let me just show you. Hold on. There's a cable tied back here that you could cut, which would release all of this. And I guess you could do what I do normally, which is I normally have like an ID badge holder that sits up on top of the printer, and then that would keep the cables out of the way. You could definitely do that. See, should be triggering in a minute. There's a little bit of extra Bowden tube down the side. That is the closest I can cut it. So before it gets to the sensor. So go back to that. So the power loss has worked. Like, it has resumed that print, to be fair. I'm not a big fan of this design on the cooler. So as I say, there's one 4010 fan that sits on this side that is all the part cooling. So non-stick, technically speaking, I suppose you could. The only caveat I would make is that the end stop is actually fitted to this here, because it homes forwards instead of back. So there's the end stop this side, and then then on the other end there's the Y motor. So I don't actually know that you could add a tensioner to it. Right, well, just to be clear, that has just gone up into the nozzle, so that isn't working. That filament sensor isn't working.
Oh, crap.
No filament in there. Look, hold on, there we go. No filament in there. Still printing.
Yep, that's cheap.
So
Or something is broke again, or not properly wired.
no, it was yeah. So either that's come loose in transit and it's pulled out of the board, but surely if it's pulled out of the board, then it should. Well, anyway, all right. Well, we'll have to pause that or stop that anyway. So something there definitely isn't right. So when we do, before we do the review, I'll have to open up the printer and see what is going on with regards to the bed leveling sensor, whether something's come loose or whether something's just not triggering. I don't know.
I swear you can put a bigger bed on that thing.
You could probably get. I think if they'd really squeezed it, they could have got a 250 bed on there. If they'd have really squeezed it. But I think they were going for whatever reason, they were going for Ender 3 size. Because that's sort of certainly for most STL files. Yeah, I guess you could do it in the middle of the bed and do it that way. For most STL files, certainly the type that me and Mike tend to get and download and do, it is. Hold on, I have to go around the front to see that. Otherwise, I'm going to end up tripping over something. They are all sliced for the most part to go on an Ender 3 size bed. So,
not that matters because we scale them up and they don't fit.
Very true, yes. Right, so let's try. Let's try slicing this in Cura and seeing how it does in Cura. Because I want to see. Right, get rid of that. So a 2.0 layer height with 20% infill, 210 on the material, 60 on the bed. Speed is 100. Retraction will leave as it was. Cooling will leave as it was. Build plate adhesion, everything else, just make sure supports are off. Build plate adhesion. We'll do a skirt. Slice that. So the first thing I would say is that what was 15 minutes in their slicer is 28 minutes on Cura. Wow. So obviously their acceleration settings or something are completely different in Cura. I mean, again, I'm using a Sidewinder profile that I've just changed the bed volume on. So I don't know if I'm perhaps supposed to change.
It's still on 0.2 layer height.
0.2 layer height, yeah. See, obviously, Cura changes all of your wall speeds and travel speeds and everything like that. I wonder what they're supposed to be on. I wonder what they're doing on 3DTalk then. See, so this is something that I don't. So let me just share my screen.
I'll be right back. I have my dogs barking. I have to check.
Yeah, no worries, man. I'll speak to you in a minute. Right, so this is my screen as it stands, and there we go. Right, so on the print options here, you can see the print speed, but nothing else. There's no other Other options? No. 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 Yeah, there's nothing else that you can. I mean, there's some interesting things on here like splits and aligns and mergings and things like that, fixing the models, hollowing them out and things. But there's nothing that I can see that's going to. So like print speed here is your print speed, and print speed in Cura, you can do your initial print speed, your walls, your travel speeds, your initial layers, and all of that stuff. So there's a lot more options in Cura than there are in theirs. So we'll just wait, and this is now heat, or it should now be heating up, and we'll see what it will do with regards to this one. So yeah, for the price of the machine, I mean $495, and you're at a Sidewinder at that point. And I am struggling to think of a reason why you would necessarily buy this over a Sidewinder. The Sidewinder has a bigger build volume. It's still direct drive. All right, this has got big, beefy linear rails.
But Sidewinders are tried and tested.
Yeah. The only, as again, I have to make the caveat again that although it is $495 on Delo MT, I don't know that that is the price that you'd have to pay if you went directly to 3DTalk. I would hazard to bet that you could get that machine cheaper if you went directly to 3DTalk than if you went through Delo MT. But you know, I could be wrong. I really have nailed that bed level. I'm not going to lie. I'm well happy with that. like that was eyeballs. That was eyeballed from start to finish, and that has just I've smashed that. Don't need an auto bed leveler. You just need me.
Oops.
As I said before, I'm not judging this machine on things like the damaged hot end cage or on the damaged lead screw, because I think both of those are a victim of shipping, and that can happen to any machine. Any machine that is mistreated in shipping is gonna have it happen. Look, non-stick, all I'm saying is that this current print is sticking to that bed with no issues whatsoever. And all I'm saying is that with my clearly superior eyes, I have managed to level that with no paper, nothing. Some people, it's not my fault, but some people are just born better. And here we are.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Super James.
So, you know, the bed size would bother me. And that's purely based on the size of builds that me and Mike do and things like that. They are made in China, Carl. So they are a Chinese machine, as to be fair, most are. I don't consider that to be, you know, a handicap or anything like that. I'm more than happy that it's made in China. That in and of itself isn't an issue. You know, down at 3D Filler Print, they use a lot of flash forges. They use a lot of flash forges. They're made in China, and they are astonishingly good machines. Like even machines that say that they are made in the US or made in the UK, I would hazard to say that a very large percentage of their parts are made in China. So, you know, so I'm not too
If it wasn't for the Chinese companies, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this now.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. Yeah. Ultimately, Chinese companies.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have cheap printers either.
Yeah.
But that's
From
not
China.
a cheap printer. China.
So again, contextually, it is. if you actually think about this in terms of an Ultimaker or a Raise 3D or a craft bot or a replicator or any of those machines, this is still a cheap machine. It's not as cheap as an Ender. That's the reality. But the Ender 3 cannot be the benchmark for every machine ever, because ultimately they're not good machines. They're fine, and if you work a lot with them, then they can be really good. You can get great prints on an Ender, but they are not. They're not the be all and end all. This is larger than. Is it larger than a Prusa? I think it is, isn't it? What's the build volume on a Prusa?
I think so.
Prusa MK3 is, hold on.
It's not 20 by 20.
I can't remember. I'm just looking.
200.
Right. So the build volume on a Prusa is 250 by 210 by 210. So cubically, you didn't mean to put the extra I in China. Yes, you did. You meant to make us say China like Donald Trump. Don't pretend you didn't. Yeah, you're right. There are upgrades that you can do. But if you were to buy an Ender and try to fit MGN 15 rails to it, and then buy a direct drive extruder, and then buy a filament sensor that admittedly would work, and this one doesn't, but still, you would still have this machine at the end of the day. And I challenge but like you still wouldn't have dual Z, you still wouldn't have a touch screen. So I mean, I challenge that if you bought an Ender 3 and you did all the upgrades to make it, these are high win rails as well. I'll point that out. And I've checked the pads. They are genuine high win rails. So like, if you were to do a high win rail conversion, a direct drive conversion, and you were to do a dual Z conversion, and you put a filament sensor on, which would mean you'd have to put a new board in because the stock board doesn't support a filament sensor, I would challenge that you would be over £495 at that point. You'd spend 250 quid just on the rails.
Yeah.
So saying that this is an upgraded Ender, it isn't. It's even at that price, it's cheaper than doing all those upgrades to an Ender 3. But the Ender 3 cannot be our benchmark for a good printer. It just can't be. We have to aim higher than that, surely. Do you not think?
I think the problem is the Ender is so cheap.
Yeah.
And it's sort of establishes itself as the small printer because of its price point.
I maintain
because of its easy to work. Like, it's easy to work on.
I maintain the reason why. So yeah, I'd agree. You don't need a filament sensor, but if we're going feature for feature,
the reason why Enders are so easy to work on is because they knew that they were going to need to be worked on.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, this is now printing with Cura, so I'm interested to see how much better this one does than it does on the other slicer. The Ender is the killer because of the community that exists around it. Everybody has already broken it in 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
So when you break it in your way, the likelihood is somebody has already broken it, posted about it, and fixed it in exactly the same way that you have and need to.
But if you try to flash forge,
yeah, there'll be a couple of hundred people who have done it, who have broken it, and they may not have broken it in the way that you have. Now, you could debate that the mark of a good printer should actually be that it doesn't break. Not that if it does break, the community is so responsive and so large that you can almost definitely find a person who's going to be able to help you.
I mean, ultimately, it would be cool to have. Sorry, Mike.
It is due to cost non-stick.
Yes, it is.
Because when people start 3D printing, you go on Amazon and
breaking up, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, your connection's really terrible.
And it's on
You're
every
frozen.
render.
Mike, you're frozen. Hold on, let me text him because I don't think he knows. Oh, there we go. There we go, you're back. Yeah, we lost you there, Mike, sorry.
Right. Yeah, no, the reason it was so popular over lockdown is because when you went on Amazon and looked at the cheap printers, and then you joined a couple of 3D printing groups, the one printer that everyone's talking about and telling people to get is the Ender.
Yeah.
So if you were looking at, say, 3 printers, maybe the Ender, a Longer, maybe a G-Tech, the one printer that everyone's telling people to get is the Ender. So that's why there was a massive influx of Ender users during the lockdown.
Yeah, and you are right. So the reality is that when you say 3D printing wouldn't be here without modifying, absolutely that is true. Absolutely that is true. The only reason why the CR30 exists, the print mill, is because of the work that was done at Murph's and by people who made like the Blue Knight and the original and like the things like that that was just some dude in his basement who just went, I've got a really fun idea, and just had a crack. You know, the only reason why we have decent part cooling is because Petsfang decided that he was going to design a better part cooler. You know, there's so many things. The only reason why we have 2-in, 1-out nozzles is because a number of makers got together and decided it'd be cool to mix filaments. You know, it is absolutely a hobby of tinkerers and makers. I'm not debating that in the slightest. The Ender 3 is sort of, you know, it's most people start there because it's a cheap way to get into the hobby, and frankly, it's a fairly good way of getting to learn about how the printer works. And if you break it, it's not necessarily the end of the world. So, I do agree that the Ender 3 is the reason why the hobby is as large as it is. Those cheap, lower end, entry-level machines, they are the reason why people get in. Cheap to fix. But if you compare this to a Prusa, then all of a sudden, this is £250 cheaper than a Prusa. The Prusa right now on their website is £891, including VAT. And that's for the kit. That's for the kit version, I think. So that's you have to build it yourself. Oh, this kit is this fully assembled printer. If you're looking for DIY, you can find it here. So building it yourself, 693. So £700, right? That's without shipping. So that is with VAT, without shipping. So call 50 quid for shipping, 750 quid. So this is direct drive. It has linear rails, which the Prusa doesn't. All right, it doesn't have auto bed leveling, but you could debate that for £250, this is better than getting in with. This is better than delving into a Prusa. At the end, it was cheap, and I didn't like the hobby. It wasn't a lot wasted. Yeah, and you're not wrong. There is a case of if you're chucking in £200 to get a cheap 3D printer and you don't like it or you can't do it, then fine.
You've only got to look at the 3D printer sales pages over the last 6 months. How many Enders have been on there where people said, I bought it to print face visors and it's no longer needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get into it and print them visors, and now they don't need the printer because they've got no interest in doing anything else.
You know, there was a lot of people who bought Prusas to do the same. There was a lot of people who bought a lot of machines so that they could help out during the pandemic, you know, and now that they don't need to, you know, those machines are now up for grabs. So let me just see if I can zoom in a little bit. Put that autofocus back on. There we go. Right, so I don't really know if you can see it, but on the Cura profile, I'm not going to lie, that is printing really nice.
And yeah, the Ender is a gateway printer.
Yeah, it is. The Ender 3 is very much one thing everyone needs to know is how to learn a bed properly. Very true. So, it's a running joke on a lot of the groups that when someone has an issue, they either say calibrate your re-steps or level your bed. And it is a running joke that that's the first thing everybody says to do. And it is unfortunate that it's also true that if people did level their bed and if people did actually calibrate their re-steps more, then maybe there wouldn't be as many sort of repeat issues and repeat offenders. But yeah, non-stick. I do agree. The Ender 3 is something of a gateway drug to the hobby. It's an easy way to get in. It doesn't hurt too much financially. If you don't enjoy it, it's relatively easy to sell an Ender 3 secondhand. And to be honest, because
it's not a big loss out your pocket either. So if you don't even sell it,
because they're so cheap to begin with, they wouldn't need glue and hairspray. Because they're so cheap to begin with, you actually don't really lose that much on a second-hand Ender. You could, if you sold one that was relatively new, you'd probably be losing 20 or 30 quid when you sold it second-hand. You really wouldn't. Yeah, and non-fam, it's a good point about comparing it to a Prusa about their after-sales service. Bearing in mind, going over 3DTalk's website. I haven't experienced their after-sales personally, but if for no other reason than their after-sales service is going to be in a different time zone to everybody else, then I would say that their support is probably going to be a little lacking. It might be natural selection. Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. Yeah, it could just be weeding out the weak, I suppose. It could just be weeding out the weak for sure. So Matt, have you just got cans on behind you?
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, no, I mean on the printers at the moment. The ones on the printers at the moment, are they more cans?
Yeah, more cans. All my printers right now running cans. And the middle one is broken right now. The belt broke.
Yeah,
so
I saw that, yeah.
I need to get a new one.
Are you just getting that off Amazon, or are you going to GTech for it?
eBay. I saw it already somewhere on eBay. I saw it a couple of days ago, and I'm gonna go back to it and order it one.
Fair enough.
So it's only like 3 quid or 4 quid for like 2-3 meters.
Yeah. I think we bought. I can't remember how much we bought. We bought a lot for the for the BLV cube, and there's quite a bit left over as well. Now I think about it, but we just used the.
I think it's 15 meters I bought for that.
Something like that, yeah. And you'd be surprised at how much of it we actually used. Well, the problem is on a Core XY, because of the way that you run the belts on a Core XY, there's a lot, right? There is a lot.
How many meters do you think?
I think we used 12 meters, maybe 10.
Wow.
It's a lot.
That's but yeah.
It was a lot, but it's a big machine. You know, it's a 410 by 410 build volume, and they have to go out, up, down, round. Yeah, the belts are long. If only it weeded out the weak so that when. So I do get what you mean. There are a lot of new people to the hobby. There always are to most hobbies around Christmas, around around holidays, around any time people get gifts and things like that. There's a lot. There's a lot of new people who come out, and I think for the most part, most of the Facebook groups are pretty good about supporting new people. But then there are times where some of the groups can be quite hostile to new people, really.
Yeah.
Like in the
Even
grand scheme of
malicious, I
things.
think.
Yeah, there can be times where people are just outright unkind.
Yeah. I say kill people with kindness.
Yeah. I say don't kill people personally, but I mean.
No, yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree to do not kill people. That's bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry of what I've said, so I have to correct myself. That's political incorrect. So.
Yeah, the fan may be interesting to some people. Yeah, the Ender 6 does have long belts. The fan. So as I said, it is cheaper than say a Prusa or something like that, and it's cheaper than a lot of Flash Forges. Certainly, any MakerBots or Ultimakers or something like that. And if this print, so we'll have to wait until I do the full review, because the full review I'm going to have to look into the. I need to look into the electronics. I need to look to see whether or not it's got all of its thermal runaway enabled and all of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things that I need to go in and play about with to make sure that everything is kosher, and then I'll put up the full review. I would actually rate this at the moment at a solid 8 out of 10. The part cooling isn't what it should be, and it should have silent stepper drivers. Other than that, and the filament sensor's obviously broken. But other than that, I'm actually relatively impressed with the machine. It is that initial calibration cube, and we'll see how this one turns out in a minute, because this is almost done now. So we're at 24 minutes and 81%. We'll see how this turns out. But at the end of the day, what you need from a printer is for it to print well. That's what you need, ultimately. It's great when it has extra features, but what you need is a printer that when you turn it on, it will just turn out prints. Reliable, click and forget. Put the SD card in. Don't have to watch the first layer go down. Just like a sociopath, click it and walk out the room. And that's what I can do with my Sidewinders.
Yeah.
Both my Sidewinders, I can put something on and I do not have to watch that first layer go down. I know those machines are going to do really well. Pretty much the same with my Feistek as well, with the Prusa clone. I don't have to watch that go down. Ender 3s can do it once you get them to that point. But Mike's got an Ender 3 that is converted to a Micro Swiss, and it's not 100% reliable. It's just not.
No.
There are times where it clogs. There are times where it goes down.
Parked next to it, I've got a longer, LK4 longer with a Micro Swiss on it as well. That I can just press print and immediately leave the room, and I know when I get back, it's all good. but I
Yeah.
can't do it with the ender.
And it may be that that ender just isn't calibrated properly. It may be that some of the settings are wrong and everything else. But you shouldn't have to be an engineer every time you want to do a normal print. You shouldn't have to get out the calipers every single time to make sure, or get out your feeler gauges every time you want to level the bed. You shouldn't have to do that. It shouldn't be that hard. And again, machines like the Prusa, machines like the Raise 3Ds, you know, that what people want is a machine that prints out of the box really great. And there are machines out there that do that. They're just more expensive. Mechanically, it's good, but physically, it's a bit weird. Big for the build volume. It's almost twice it. Yes, that is true. So I don't know if I've actually got the machine's dimensions, but I'll measure it. Hold on. So the footprint of the machine is... Jesus. Okay. It's 450 by 400. And that's not including the spool holder. So if you include the spool holder, it's actually 520 by 400. That's a big footprint for a machine of that size, because I am pretty sure that the ender is like, what, 300 mil across?
Hold on. If I've got a tape measure here.
Right, well, we're done with the calibration cube. Comes off that bed, lovely, even though that's not... Oh, okay. Well, that isn't bad. That isn't bad. Okay, hold on. Let's change over cameras. Here we go. Right. Oh, I need my phone, don't I? So that is one side. That is the top layer. That is Y. And that is X. This is the bottom layer. I mean, for 100 millimeters a second, I'm not going to lie, that's really good. After all the jokes, that's with a bent lead screw, admittedly without a working filament sensor. That has come out really nice. 100 millimeters a second cube. So we're clearly going to have to do a bit of testing. The only thing I would say is we've maybe a little lacking in cooling on one of the corners. It's a slight deformation. We might need to lower the temperature a little bit because that part cooling just isn't perfect. So we might need to just adjust that cooling down. But I have to say, that isn't bad. I'm pretty happy with that. What I am going to do before we go is I am just going to give a quick... I'm going to see whether or not I can trigger thermal runaway. So if we go to... Let's go to 190 on there and 60 on the bed. So in theory, correct me if I'm wrong, if I unplug this bed, that should send the bed temperature probe down to like -14 or whatever it is, and that should trigger thermal runaway. So let's see. Yep. So heat bed's got it. Turn that off and reset. Plug that back in. Turn that back on. So the heat bed has got thermal runaway enabled, which is good. and then we will just go up on the extrusion, and then we should be able to unplug that from here. Error, thermal runaway. Yep, so thermal runaway is enabled. So fair play. So fair play to it. It has got thermal runaway enabled. The issues that we have from shipping, we have a bent lead screw, a very bent lead screw, and the filament sensor isn't currently working. Other than that, and the front extruder plotters.
End of 3 is 440 by 410 by 465.
So this, what did we say this was? So let's include the spool. This is 520 by 410. So it's the same on the Y, about 60 mil bigger on the X, and then this is 470 high. So 5 mil. So actually,
well, the extra space on the is the filament on the side.
Yeah, I mean,
with an ender on the top.
So if you don't include the spool, 445. So it's 5 mil. So it's 5 mil.
On an ender, the spool's on top.
Yeah, 5 mil on every axis. That's literally it. So it's actually not that big.
It looks bigger because the ender is open underneath.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of the ender's side is the actual screen that overhangs the gantry.
Yeah. Right, guys, we've hit the 2-hour mark. It's 9 o'clock in the evening. I think it's best to call it a day here. Matt, thank you very much for sticking with us for the whole time. Big thanks to Akuma Mods for dropping in while he could as well. Definitely check out Akuma Mods' channel. Non-Fam, Carl, Non-Stick, all of you guys, thank you very, very much for sticking with us. DB3D and everyone, thanks for staying for the whole shebang.
And if you like this, wait until Saturday.
Oh yeah, fair play. Yeah, so a few videos we've got coming up. So we've got the full review of our Hornet coming out. We'll have a full review of this. Hopefully, we'll have that done this week. We'll have some more prints and things like that we've done on it. And then this weekend, we've got a live stream on Saturday, which is I have a very large terrain model that I have not painted terrain before. Mike has quite a small diorama. And it's really detailed, and we're going to be doing a paint session, but we're going to be doing that paint session drunk. I'm a little nervous about painting the model. When I get nervous, I drink, and I think it's the best way to settle my nerves whilst trying to paint something that is objectively very large.
I might even.
How's your hack house going along?
This one's very difficult.
How's my what? That is the hag house. That is the hag house that I'll be painting. So that's very big, and I've never painted. So I mean, I've not painted many things that are that big, to be honest.
Yeah.
So doing that drunk is going to be difficult straight in and of itself.
Some of your models are huge.
No paint by numbers. I don't even know if I know what colours it's supposed to be. So.
Matt from Akuma Mods makes the same model right now. What you doing or what you did?
Oh, he's doing hack house.
Yeah,
videos.
But smaller, original size.
Well, boo.
I hope he doesn't need this.
Thanks very much for joining us, guys. As always, like and subscribe to the channel if you are not already. And if you would like, don't forget to keep an eye on the channel so that you can see our full review of this, where hopefully I will have fixed the lead screw and seen what drink.
Check my profile out on Facebook.
Yes, absolutely. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. I will see you all very soon. He said. providing that the thing will end.
Oh boy. We're stuck forever now. And
Well, now